Hello, Michael here from Photogear Tested. In this episode I tested EF and EFS lenses from Canon and Tamron on the Lumix G7 using a manual adapter from K&F Concepts. With this adapter you cannot change the aperture, but there is a workaround if you don't want to use the lens wide open. First you have to choose the desired aperture on your Canon. You then press the little button that stops the aperture down, and while pressing this little button you remove the lens while the Canon is powered. The first lens I tested was the Canon EFS 10 to 18mm. Now this lens is a SMT lens, which means that it needs power supply from the camera to focus even if you focus manually. I set this lens at 10mm to a distance of about 7m at f8 on a Canon body and mounted the lens with the before mentioned workaround on the G7. It performed very well. It is very sharp even in the corners. But this lens has a massive focus shift, so you cannot change the focal length without losing sharpness. After all, this lens is not very useful on the G7 with a manual adapter, so for this lens you need the latest and more expensive Metabones T adapter. Next lens is the Tamron 17 to 50mm f2.8. It performed very well, and compared to the Panasonic 14 to 42mm kit lens, there is no big difference in image quality. Sometimes it is better in the corners, but after all there is only a minor difference between these lenses. I use this lens when I need the follow focus and the matte box on my rig when filming, because the kit lens is too small to mount both on the rig. The next lens is the Canon 70 to 200mm f4. I used this lens wide open, and again it worked very well on the G7. At 200mm it is a little softer but still very usable. Here are a couple of images I took with this lens at 200mm. Focusing on a moving subject is not easy. I only got 1 out of 10 images in focus. Last lens I tested is the 400mm f5.6. This lens is the best I ever used on the G7. It's so incredibly sharp, but focusing is impossible on fast moving subjects. Next time I will show you some Nikon lenses on the G7. Thank you for watching, and thanks to my subscribers. See you next time.